Seadogs and Scallywags is a strategic bluffing game, all about gathering treasure cards and then using those treasures to try to win deals with a colorful cast of noble characters by any means necessary. Before a round of the game begins, all players are dealt 3 treasure cards, and the first player decides which noble to put the premium resource token on. The resource associated with this noble will be of special importance during the first phase of the round, since winning a deal with this noble stands to earn that player a large sum of bonus points.
Now, all players look at their starting hand of treasure cards and take turns drawing 3 more cards from the top of the deck, analyzing their hand, and then choosing 2 treasure cards to throw overboard, reveal to the other players. These cards are no longer usable by the player who discarded them. However, they are useful to the other players as they provide information about what treasure a given player is willing to get rid of. After 3 times around the table, 4 rounds in a 2-player game, every player is left with their bidding hand, and we move on to the auction phase.
In the auction phase, players take turns bidding on noble tiles by placing their chips on them. When placing a bid, players are claiming that they have at least as many of that noble's corresponding treasure as they have bid chips placed on them. So in this example, I have placed 3 bid chips on the Swan Noble, and I have 4 sheet music treasure cards in my hand, so this would be considered a truthful bid. If instead I only had 2 sheet music treasure cards in my hand, then this would be a bluff. When placing a bid, a player must place enough chips to beat all other bids on that noble tile. There can be no ties. If a player wishes to accuse another player of bluffing, they may do so instead of placing a bid on their turn. The accused player must then reveal whether or not they were bluffing about that specific noble. If they were, they must immediately remove all the bid chips they have placed on that noble, and the player who accused them gains 1 point for the interaction. However, if the accused player wasn't bluffing, then the player who made the accusation is forced to reveal 3 of their own treasure cards to the table, which will make it significantly harder for them to bluff in the rest of the round. Finally, if a player does not wish to place a bid or make an accusation on their turn, they may choose to pass to the next player. The auction phase ends once all players choose to pass in a row.
Now, we have reached the end of the round and scores are determined per player. You gain 1 point for winning a deal with a noble. You gain an additional point per chip that you placed, which turns out to be a bluff. And lastly, any points you gained from the noble with the premium resource marker placed on it are doubled.
Once the scores are recorded in the score sheet, cards and chips are collected and the next round is set up. The game lasts for 4 rounds total, and the player with the most points at the end of the game wins.